Hi there, guys, and welcome back to the art review. Today we're going to be talking about Emily Carroll. Like always, links will be down in the description for anything that you need from her. Twitter, Instagram, whatever she has will be down there. And I'm just, as you saw today, I have jumped straight through and I'm showing you the cover of one of her books. I think it's the most famous one. She not only is an artist, but she writes them. All obviously, I'm just going to be focusing on the art because, first of all, I haven't read the books. This was the first person that uh, I've been requested to do, and I decided, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Because, looking at art is just looking at art. You don't necessarily need to read everything about the person. You can look at everything they've made and you can kind of put together good arguments. Now, I know that she does a good part of it in horror, and it's probably why my friend likes a bit of it. And first thing I want to comment about the art, this reminds me of Lumberjanes and of Adventure Time, which I think she has some stuff on Adventure Time, and I will show you an art that she did for it. And something about me is that I used to like Adventure Time. I loved Adventure Time. I even have a Fiona hat, and also I have from another series, which was The Bravest Warriors. I have Catbug, and Bravest Warriors is pretty much something that I'm also comparing it to. I would say that her art is cartoonish. That's what I want to say. And let's just jump right into what's on the inside. So as you can see, the art feels very much like a good old series of cartoons. At the same time, I really like how the lines are everything and the color is almost nothing in this. Clearly, the reds and blues have a great meaning, like I've talked to in previous episodes. But in this, I think this comic is one of those that could still have no color, and I would love to read. I will read it in the future. Like always, I say when I talk about something, I will read it, and hopefully so. Now, it's not my favorite kind, it's not my favorite style of art. For example, I haven't read Adventure Time, I just like watching it. But from what I'm going to show you, I'm going to, you know, make reference to the fact that it's not a bad style. It's a good one. It's just not my preferenced one. Now, here's a little bit of it. I just wanted to show you how Through the Woods looks. Once again, it's very cartoonish, very much lines are everything. It reminds me of an horror one. I forgot the name of it. Well, it reminded me of an old horror comic, but right now I can't seem to get the name of. Still, it is pretty cool one, I must admit. Oh, I didn't talk about this when I saw the thing. Okay, so over here, I really like the trees, but if you pay close attention in the middle of the trees, it kind of looks like hands. It is making reference to the fact that it's hands. I mean, from what I know, this has a feel of horror. So you can see the sign of the wolf, kind of like a death sign, and the hands on the trees, just a red shading, and then her being blue being the peace color, is something that is very meaningful. Moving on. So here we go. I'm showing you some art that's from Adventure Time, and that's That's Adventure Time. So our art is very influenced by cartoons. I'd say that there isn't another style to it. It's just plain cartoonish, kidsy, still elaborated and very worked on drawing style. And as you know about me, I like, you know, art that's more, well, how do I say? Well, more realistic. So this is not something that I would probably read, but I might take a look into Through the Woods. It looked really good. Looking at her, what her normal art looks like, you can clearly see the reference to the picture that I last showed you, and to cartoons that used to be up, and probably some old French comics that you'll relate this to. It has a nice feeling to it, I will admit. I also like how the colors work. I like the white and black on the character on the left. I like the whites, how they work and how they have a little bit of the the pink on the girl on the right, because colors mix, and I do sense that there is some color mixing somewhere else. My eyes are not okay. There we go. Uh, there is color mixing on. Yeah, okay. So on the ribbon above, clearly, the shadowing and some little lines to give you a texture. Below, there is, well, I wouldn't call them snakes. There's something else, clearly, not just that awful animal. And they are gray with a hint of blue. Now, if you look at this out of the nowhere, you wouldn't probably see everything in it. You wouldn't see the eyes on, the gray animals below, and you probably wouldn't see that, the thing in the middle is rays going up. That is something that you get used to. Now, I dislike something about this, and it's the character's face on the left. Unfortunately for me, compared to the one on the right, she is, well, first of all, not so pretty, because in case you notice with me, her face is too long. When it goes, it's good up to her nose, and then it drops way too much. And that is the only fatal point in this drawing, but it's still a pretty good one. Moving on, here's one that is probably it was probably made in on the computer. That's obvious. I don't know why I said that. Probably. No, it's clearly made on the computer. I like this one. First of all, the men's suits don't go completely down. Second of all, it has a very old tone to it. I really love that. Third of all, wow, what is she wearing? Because I love how it goes around her neck, and I love how she made the lines on the arms. It just gives me an old vibe, and even the doors look amazing. This is something that I expect from a comic artist. This is, and they don't always follow this. I mean, even realistic ones, sometimes their backgrounds or the things that are supposed to be important in a picture aren't. And for example, in this one, doors with the faces in them and how they run down very smoothly, that's important for that time and to place you somewhere. So I really like how it is made. Now I'm sorry, I sound kind of sick. I swear, this was not supposed to happen, but it did, and you have no option but to listen to me while I'm sick. Now, here's another piece of art that I found out. Now, this was listed to be hers. In fact, there's a lot of things that I'm always, cautious about getting, but I think this is hers. First of all, the art style. Second of all, the lining on the trees. And third of all, the way that she did the dresses. Now, it's clearly a very, very lovely. Blip, that just passed by me. It's, it's clearly a very lovely picture. I do enjoy it a lot. And there's some detail to it. Not really too much detail, but there's some details that are very important, and they are meaningful in this. For example, the flowers on their heads, or on her leg, how it goes down on the side and has that line. I'm sorry, the image doesn't have a lot of quality apparently. So as you can see that, or even in the face, has, one of them without the makeup, the other one, white faced, but then having the makeup with, uh, the makeup that they do in Japan, white, and then the blush on the cheeks, and clearly the little point because royalty and stuff. No, I actually I should research more on that, but I think it looks really nice. I like it a lot. Now, I didn't particularly like this one, but I found it. So here goes another drawing of her. We can ignore the foot. I mean, clearly, for me, that's a really low point. But the rest of it looks good. There's not a lot of stuff that I have to compliment, but at the same time, there's not a lot of stuff that I have to say bad about it. It's just not my style once again. Still, I do enjoy the fabrics. In case you've watched the other stuff, fabrics, I really love talking about them. And I enjoy parts of this fabric. For example, on the legs of the girl on the left, I like how the little lines go with her legs. I like both of their capes and how they roll in the front. I mean, it's really good fabric. The rest is just, for me, not something that I love, but I do appreciate this artist. Now I'm just sharing this for a quick second because this was one of the first pictures that I found, and I was like, oh, I'm in it for a bad one, am I not? Uh, and I was expecting something like Junji Ito, and here's why I was expecting that. Oh, maybe that was the thing that I was looking for before. So over here you can see, the branches that are coming at her, and this reminds me a lot of Ju-on, in case you've ever watched it, or it has the Grudge from the English version. It looks good. Uh, like this, for example. Although this is like a cartoony horror, and anything that comes from Japan is Japanese horror, and this is not manga style. What I'm showing you right now is a cartoon style. Why I decided to talk about Junji Ito, which he does manga, is because this feels a lot like that kind of thing. First of all, how the lines come from her hands, her hand positioning, her happy face, uh, how her clothes are, except for the part where it's torn apart, uh, doesn't doesn't do like that. But also the branches, because usually a character is not all alone. They always have this weird background, or something scary to go with them. but this looks very much like that, and I like that. I wanted to share this one because I think this is part of the comic. So there you go. There you go. This is how art usually looks like, and admit it, this looks like Adventure Time. And I loved Adventure Time as a TV series. I probably will not read it as a comic. Maybe one day I'll read it and one day I'll like it. But who knows, right? You'll never know. So that's what I wanted to say about this. I hope you don't hate me after it. But that's yeah, that's something. Also, once again, I just really like how cartoons do the clothing. I don't really appreciate the faces or backgrounds, but the characters themselves, they they make up for the way that they dress, and sometimes, for example, in the case of the blonde one, by the way that they look, I actually like that facial expression. I like the first page, the first what? The first block, some of the facial expressions, you know, the blue coat guy with the side smile kind of thing. Actually, laugh. I said, why I say smile? But I don't enjoy as much how the eyes are done on the second frame, where the blue-eyed has those eyes open, and I don't know. For me, well, it's cartoon style. Also, this horror again. I really appreciate this horror though. Let's look more into it. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Now, I have one issue with this. Clearly terrible teeth, but not scary teeth. And then the eyes, the lines are not perfect. It messes with me. But people do however they want, and this still looks pretty good, even though it's something that I usually wouldn't like. I actually probably would like this in a comic. I would still, read the comic. There's nothing that would drive me away. It looks very unfinished, but I just wanted to show you guys uh, some other stuff that she did. Also, because I saw the interview with her and she talked about this one, I couldn't find actually anything concrete about it, but That Night in June was apparently something that sold, and well, if she actually has a comic about it, and she is selling it at cons, if you ever want to go at a con and you see that she is one of the artists, this is probably what she'll take. If you want to do some research, just research on That Night in June, and maybe you'll find some pictures, which I actually didn't, and I didn't find the comic, which was very weird. Maybe I wrote the name wrong, but I did my best, guys. Come on. I'm kidding. I don't always do my best, but I tried. So since it's something that is, it sells well, it shouldn't be something that is bad. It's probably really good. I wish I had found out about it, but I found more about it, but I actually did not. Now, last but not least, she worked on a game, and because she was a gamer, she worked on it, and I advise you checking it out. It's called the yeah, I forgot how you say it. Uh, it has a really weird name, as you can see over there. You can just check it out. I haven't tested the game, and I don't think it's one of the games that I would play. I usually play multiplayer or, how do I say this? Dungeon games. So this is probably not my style from what I saw of it. Uh, but I still would advise, in case anybody wants to check it out, there is a game that she has worked on the art of. And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about her. Now, I do advise you checking out Through the Woods. Maybe I will do in the future too. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I see that it fell a little bit shorter than the other ones by about 5 minutes, which I am very sorry for. I did research on her, and there wasn't a lot to talk about, to be honest. A lot of the things that came up was Through the Woods, and that she did a little bit of Adventure Time. Also, her art, there's not much to talk about. It's pretty much cartoon style, a little bit more worked on. But, you know, if you want to check out her stuff, once again, links will be down below. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry that I sound a little bit sick and a little bit tired. Happens to all of us. So, see you next time.